All right, welcome to The Explainer. The buzz around AI is it's everywhere right now. It feels like we're on the brink of artificial general intelligence, AGI. But here's the thing. Is all this hype actually pointing us in the right direction? Or could we be taking a really fascinating but maybe dangerous detour? Let's dig in.
I mean, look at the tools we're all using, right? Things like ChatGPT. They've totally convinced millions of us that real, human-level AI is just around the corner. They seem so smart, so capable. And that brings up a really critical question. Are these large language models, these LLMs, the actual foundation for true AGI? Or are they maybe leading us down a totally different path?
And you can't deny it. This belief is powerful. It's caused this huge leap in how the public sees all of this. I mean, just a few years ago, AGI was basically sci-fi for most people. Now, a lot of folks think it's practically here, or it's coming next year. But what if that popular view is missing a really, really important piece of the puzzle? So, to get a better handle on this, we really need to look at the work of Dr. Ben Goertzel. This guy is a true pioneer in AI research. He's the CEO of SingularityNet, and he's been wrestling with the fundamental problem of AGI for decades. And his take on this whole AI boom, well, it's probably not what you're expecting.
And here it is. This is Goertzel's big, provocative claim. He says that if you're trying to build a real AGI with a large language model at its core, you are, in his words, mostly wasting your time. He doesn't see them as a stepping stone. He calls them an off-ramp, a technology that's useful, yeah, powerful even, but ultimately a distraction.
An off-ramp? Okay, so what does he actually mean by that? Let's break down his critique of these models that have pretty much taken over the world.
Okay, so Goertzel isn't just dismissing them. He totally acknowledges that LLMs can do some incredible stuff. They can show flashes of reasoning, they can improvise in ways that are genuinely surprising. But he argues they still can't make those profound creative leaps that the human mind can. They can mimic us, sure, but can they truly create something new? And he makes this point really clear with a couple of brilliant analogies. Think about it like this. An LLM that's been trained on all the music up to the year 1900. It might be able to create a new little melody, right? But it's never, ever going to invent something like progressive jazz or heavy metal on its own. Or in math, it can fill in the little details of a proof you give it, but it also makes these really silly basic mistakes that a human expert would never make. Why? Because it doesn't actually get the abstract concepts underneath it all.
So, when you boil it all down, Goertzel's point is that LLMs model the world way too close to the surface. They are phenomenal pattern matchers, just sifting through unbelievable amounts of data, but that surface-level approach, it stops them from building those deep, abstract models of the world that you absolutely need for true human-level intelligence and, real creativity.
All right, so if LLMs are the off-ramp, what's the actual highway to AGI? For Goertzel, the answer is a completely different kind of architecture, a hybrid model he calls neurosymbolic AI. Now, this isn't about throwing out neural nets entirely. The idea here is to combine their incredible pattern matching skills with an older, much more structured part of AI, symbolic reasoning. The goal is pretty simple, really. Get the best of both worlds. You get the intuition of a neural network, but with the rock-solid logic of a reasoning engine. So here's how it works, broken down into two steps that really complement each other. First, you let the neural networks do what they do best, learn from all the messy, real-world data and find the hidden patterns. Then, and this is the key part, you feed those patterns into a symbolic reasoning engine. That engine can then build a logical model, it can test hypotheses, and it can forge a real abstract understanding of the world, the kind of understanding you need for truly complex problem solving. And the potential payoff here is just huge. By grounding the AI in actual logic, you could create a system that's way, way better at things like math and science. It would be a lot less likely to make those weird, nonsensical mistakes that LLMs sometimes spit out. And here's something I found really fascinating. Goertzel even suggests it could have a more coherent ethical framework, one that's based on probabilistic logic instead of, our often inconsistent human emotions. This whole idea leads us right into one of the biggest, thorniest questions in all of AI, the alignment problem. As we get closer and closer to AGI, how on earth do we make sure it shares our values and our goals? Well, Goertzel has a pretty radical way of reframing this whole debate. First off, let's talk timeline. He agrees with the futurist Ray Kurzweil that we'll probably see human-level AGI around 2029. But, and this is a huge but,
Goertzel thinks the jump from AGI to superintelligence will be shockingly fast, like just a few years. Why? Because once an AGI can start improving itself, designing better chips, writing better code, that exponential growth curve is going to get a whole lot steeper really, really fast. So, with that kind of rapid takeoff on the horizon, this whole question of alignment becomes absolutely critical. The big fear, the one you always see in the movies, is that a super intelligent AI will just develop its own goals and decide humanity is in the way. But is that the real danger we should be losing sleep over? This is where Goertzel just flips the whole script. He argues the problem isn't that AI won't align with us. The real problem is that we aren't aligned with each other.
So the real threat, as he sees it, isn't some single godlike AI turning on humanity. No, it's something way more plausible and honestly way more familiar. It's the scenario where the US military, the Chinese military, Google, Microsoft, they all build their own incredibly powerful AIs. And yeah, each of those AIs will be perfectly aligned, but aligned with the narrow, selfish goals of whoever created them, whether that's maximizing profit or winning a war, not with the greater good of humanity. And all of this brings us to Goertzel's ultimate vision for what comes next. It goes way beyond just building a smarter machine. He sees AGI as the spark for something he calls a consciousness explosion.
You see, for him, just creating a human-like AGI, that's a pretty limited goal. The real prize, the real reason to do any of this, is to use this technology to unlock this incredible diversity of new kinds of minds, new states of conscious experience, ways of thinking and being that we literally can't even imagine right now.
I mean, just think about it for a second. Our own consciousness is, well, it's pretty limited, right? We can only hold, a few things in our short-term memory at once? What would it even be like to be a mind that could hold 1,000,000, or to feel another person's brain state as if it were your own? This explosion of mind, he thinks, could help us solve humanity's biggest, most impossible problems, everything from poverty to disease to death itself.
So, if this amazing, almost utopian future is actually possible, what's the biggest thing holding us back? Is it the tech? Is it the government? Well, according to Goertzel, it's something a lot more mundane. He points a finger directly at what he calls the terrifying leanness of the commercial AI world. The problem, as he sees it, the very organizations that have the money and the power to build this incredible future, they're driven by goals that are, frankly, pretty uninspiring. And Goertzel really does not pull any punches here. He basically says that instead of building these grand tools for expanding consciousness and human potential, we're mostly using the most powerful technology in history for selling stuff, killing people, spying on each other, and crooked gambling. And now, he says, with LLMs, we can add mass-scale plagiarism to that list. As you can imagine, he notes these things don't really lead to a deep, positive bond between us and our machines.
And that leaves all of us with a final, really critical question. As we're all racing towards this super intelligent future, are we actually aiming for something incredible, like a future of abundance and expanded consciousness? Or are we just building incredibly powerful tools to more efficiently serve the same old, narrow interests, commercial and military, that run our world today? The path we choose right now, well, it could define the future of intelligence itself.